Here's another function that we're going to look at for domain and range. And let me just clarify what I mean by function. So remember, a function, there's only one output for a given input. So when I'm looking at this function, when I put in x here at the value of -2, I get out a y here at the value of 3. If I put in an x here at -1, I get out a y value here of 3. If I put in an x value of 0, I get out a y value of 3. Okay? So for every x value, I get a distinct y value. In other words, if I put in, let's say, -2, I don't get out a 3 and a -4. I don't have two separate answers for that one input. For that one input, I have one and only one output. So that makes this a function. The other way to think about a function when we're looking at the graph has to do with the vertical line test. So a vertical line test is, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up vertically, and I'm going to make sure that this ruler only intercepts what I'm examining to be my function one time. So when I'm looking at my ruler and I'm bringing it along my function, it's only touching my function in one place at a time. So that makes it a function. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about domain and range. So domain is our value of x, our input. So let's write domain, and that's my x values or my input. So remember, without an input, I cannot have an output. So let's think about what that means. So let's think about where x is -6. What is our y? So if I'm out here at -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I look up and I look down, at -6, I don't even touch the function anywhere, which means there is no output, so there's none. There's no y, which means that input never existed for this function. So x cannot be a part, -6 rather, cannot be a part of the domain because I have no output for the value of x equals -6. So when we're looking for domain and range, we're always going to move with domain. We're going to move left to right. So we're going to look at where is our first value on the left. So I'm starting here and I'm moving left, moving left, moving left, moving left, moving left. Once I hit right here on my x-axis, I look up and I see I have a part of my function. So that means that my x starts right here. And it continues because I have values of x's all the way along there that's making this line, because I have coordinates all the way through. And it ends right here. So all along here, I have x values. So just like I did before, I'm going to do a horizontal line that's going to represent my x-axis. So I'm drawing my horizontal line, and I'm going to look left to right. So I'm starting here, right here, at -2 for my x. So I look up above, it can equal -2. I can have the x value of -2. So I'm going to color that in because x at -2 works for this function. Then I have all values of x along my x-axis. These are all good x's until I get to here at 1, 2, 3, 4, at x is 4. But I have to be careful at x is 4 because notice I have an open circle. So that open circle means I'm going to put an open circle here. X cannot equal 4. X could be 3.99999. So right here, if I had x at 3.999999999, I'm good. This number is somewhere really close to the 4 right there on my x-axis. And it's included somewhere right here on that line is my x value of 3.999999999. So I have everything in between those 2 points because I have a function that's drawn between those 2 points. So that means that for my domain, I'm going to write this in interval notation. My lowest value is -2, including, because all those dots are filled in, all the way to 4. Every number from -2 all the way to 4, but not including 4. I can come up to 3.99999999999, and that 9 is going to keep going forever. Because I can't write that forever, it comes to 4 really close. So that's what that means. So that's how I write that. Okay, so now let's look at range. Range is a little tricky on this, can be a little confusing. So let's look at the range on this one. So range is our y values, or our output. So let's look at range. Range is our y, also known as our output. So what do we get after we put in our domain? So here I have all my x values possible to create this function. So when I put in an x value here, I get a y value here. So right here is my y value. And it's that y value everywhere along this line. It doesn't matter where I am. On that line, my y value is the same. So my y value is stuck right there at that level. It doesn't go above it, it doesn't go below it. Because the function is only right there on where y equals 1, 2, 3. So my range, my y value, is only where y equals 3. So just like what we've done before, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my vertical line that's going to represent my y-axis. What are all my y values along this line? Well, at this point my y is 3, 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 here my y is 3, so my y is 3 everywhere. So it's right exactly on 3. No more, no less. So if I'm going to write this in interval notation, I'm going to say that my range is exactly 3. That's it. That's as far as I can go.